Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I'm Adon, that's Angel, and that's Kim.
Hi.
On this video, we have decided to get our DC-ness involved and follow up with the latest addition to, I guess, the Snyderverse, The Flash.
Well, we can definitely say the DCEU. This is most likely the last one, if not the Blue Beetle, coming out soon. But this is in current connection of the Zack Snyder universe. And we brought Kim in to get not just a female perspective, but a person who's not aware or familiar with the Flashpoint storyline.
So unbiased taste.
Yeah, and not very much of a taste.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Are you gonna choke me?
Why did you do Wolverine?
Hey, do you remember the mashup they did? Wolverine and Bruce Wayne?
Dark Claw.
I did it without even thinking about it. Spoilers.
Alert.
How was your theater experience, first of all?
Theater experience. Well, we saw this Thursday prior to the national premiere. Mm-hmm. And I know you saw it Saturday. So when we saw it, we
actually changed times.
Yes, we were going to see the IMAX version at 10. Mm-hmm. And then we changed it to a 7:45 since I had to get up really early for work. Crowd, it was a good amount of.
Well, I noticed from the other times that the theater seemed pretty full, but for some reason our time it was like there was just the center point.
Well, I guess like
everybody was congregating in the middle.
Right. People wanted to see the IMAX. Yeah, I get it. It was available, so why not? And there was several theaters going on, showing the movie. Understandable. And again, it worked for our time. For the time frame that we picked, it wasn't that packed. They were responsive. They reacted to great scenes. I was very loud at certain moments. I was, the fanboy in me got excited, and I didn't hold back. I cannot say the same for Kim because for the most part, she was asleep.
It's a long film, though. It's pretty long.
Yes. What was your theater experience?
It was like a mediocre pack. I went around 6:45, and it was, I would say, a third of the way full. And I was anticipating that it would be full by day 2 after the premiere, but no, it wasn't. At first, people were like a little bit noisy, but then they quieted down, which made it good. I just got unfortunate, like where there was a bunch of people that kept having to get up and go across the row from me, in and out.
Yeah.
And it was early on too. It was like first hour they just kept going in and out. And I'm like, are you serious? I understand like by like close to the third hour, like bladders, but Jesus.
See, to me that's annoying. But we got seats that was like right by, like how we do is we get seats by the handicap section, which I know is not good, but also cool. We don't sit in the handicap, but there's seats by those.
The accompanying handicap.
Right, the accompanying handicap. And we were sitting closer to the screen, even though in person, that distance was perfect. On the app, to get the seats, it looks very close.
Yeah.
But it was actually in a great spot. So we had no one walking in front of us, even though on the app, it looked like someone was right there. But the person was like 30 feet away ahead. So that was fine.
Okay, that's good.
So again, The Flash, the latest of the DCEU continuity line, and most likely the last, is rated right now, as of time of this review on Rotten Tomatoes, 67% by the critics and 86% by the audience. It's directed by Andy, I'm going to probably say his last name wrong, but Muschietti. He directed It and Chapter 2. Mm-hmm. He's the horror director, similar to the director of Aquaman, who was originally a horror director.
Okay.
And also Shazam.
Yeah.
He was a horror director too. So I don't know what's up with Warner Brothers hiring horror directors.
I mean, maybe they were trying to get the same thing that Spider-Man did. Like, everybody loves Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and that was Sam Raimi, who was a horror director beforehand.
Yeah, he did great for Tobey Spider-Man run.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the third one, it was a bad version. I understand what you're saying, but still, it seems like these directors were missing the mark. The screenplay is written by Christina Hudson, and she wrote one of your favorite movies,
Have a few.
Bumblebee.
Yes. I did like Bumblebee.
Yeah. And Jody Harold. He is also co-screenwriter. You have Ezra Miller returning as the Flash, Barry Allen. Michael Keaton returning again as Bruce Wayne and Batman. Then you have Sasha Kella, or Kaya. I can't say her last name. Kaye, that she plays Supergirl, Superwoman, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
You have Ben Affleck reprising his role again as Bruce Wayne and Batman in the Snyderverse. You have Michael Shannon coming back as Zod. Jeremy Irons again back as Alfred. Oh, Ron Livingston, he's from Office Space. He is now
The father.
the father of Barry Allen, right? And Kiersey Clemens, she plays Iris West. Now, there's also multiple actors we're not going to mention yet. This is inspired by two DC-run series or mini-series, Flashpoint and Crisis on Infinite Earths. It seemed like it only took 10%
Of
each storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like just a little like blanket or veil, if you will, of the storyline here. And I told Kim that to really understand the Flashpoint idea, she needs to see Flashpoint Paradox, the animated version of the comic book storyline. Yes.
The animated did a really good job of summing up the graphic novel. I would say that's a good starting point if you really want to do a comparison. If you don't want to do that comparison, stay away from it because it's a stark difference and you'll be doing a hard comparison between the two.
Another one that did a really good job was the CW's The Flash. They had their own version.
True. I didn't watch that.
They had to limit it because of what characters they had in the show and what characters they could have done, but they did a great job. They had Burt Ward, to go real quick over that. Burt Ward makes a cameo. He was Robin in the 1966 series. You have Kevin Conroy. He plays Bruce Wayne Batman in another dimension, another universe.
Yeah, that was their Infinity Crisis you're talking about. That they
Right.
Yeah.
And then they did a Flashpoint. So but anyway, both they did very good job in what they had budget wise and the characters they had in there. So yeah, and they had they had the opportunity to expand it over several episodes.
True.
Now, your initial thoughts.
Honestly, I was leaning towards meh. The parts that I liked were really good, and the parts that I didn't like hurt me overall in the film.
I feel the same way.
What about you, Kim?
Yeah, for what you stayed awake for.
I could have declined in seeing it. That was my overall perspective of it.
A solid no.
So there is only one scene that I really enjoyed, that I really liked, and that was pretty much it.
Okay, so is that towards the end?
No,
Was that at the beginning?
Yeah.
Was it the babies?
The CGI babies?
nope.
Oh, the coffee shop.
No, I hated that too.
Oh, it's what she liked.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, it's the cameo of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, unlike the Fury of the Gods on the previews, they gave you everything, I guess, to get you in the seats, and they
True.
didn't do that here. I mean, again, granted, I stayed away with the previews as much as I could, and I didn't know that she was going to make an appearance.
I didn't know that either. I mean, they gave you a lot in the trailers, but that wasn't one of them. It was, which was funny.
I mean, the only one from the Justice League, because again, we did say spoilers. The only one from the Justice League, Zack Snyderverse, Cyborg, he does not make an appearance.
True.
He is mentioned, but he never shows up because all the legal battles and all that what he was saying with his issues with Joss Whedon,
Yeah.
how he was treated, which I thought I understand what he was doing, but at the same token, he was a Broadway star, thinking he's next Denzel Washington. Like, it was biting more off than he was chewing, where you have like seasoned actors saying like, "Hey, we understand your gripe, but if you want to work, you gotta take it down." And I guess he just like kind of like,
He burned the bridges.
oh yeah, he burned bridges, just like what's her name from Mandalorian.
Gina Carano, yeah.
For me, I thought it was entertaining, yes, but it missed the mark on several things. This movie could have done better if it was shorter. This movie is 2 hours and 16 minutes long. Just like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, that movie could have been shorter as well. They could have tightened things up. And then again, this is what's hurting that as well in the duration. It was lagging on so many things. I like the fact, real quick, because we're going to our likes and our dislikes. I did like the fact that they gave the answer how or why Barry looks like the way he does. Meaning, he doesn't look like you're all American. He looks mixed.
Oh, okay.
Here, he's a son of a white American father, European, and a Latin mother.
And the kid they got looks a lot like him. Especially
the 18-year-old Barry in the comparison to the kid with the same hair style and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. And one of my favorite moments there, just because I'm a fan of Ruben Blades, she was dancing in the kitchen with him. There's a music playing, and they were playing a song, a rendition by another artist, not by Ruben Blades, but Pedro Navaja. It's like an 8-minute, 10-minute song. It builds up. It's really good. And then they start playing, and I was telling Kim, I started saying the words. And that was a great, nice touch. I didn't expect that being, that's like a deep cut for, I guess, for those who know.
Yeah.
I told Mom about it too. She was surprised when I told her about that. I mean, I wrote it down because since we saw it a while, I had to remember like exactly, because I know I don't want to, sometimes we go off the cuff and we forget stuff and we remember later on. Right. Now, do you want to go over to the liked or the disliked?
I can go. Let's start with the likes.
Most of it was towards the end. Well, for one, Michael Keaton and Sasha Cala, they killed it.
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I don't even know her. All I know her from is like, I heard she's on soap operas, and I'm like, no, I've never seen her in anything else. But I'm like, girl, you've blown me away. I would fear you as a superpowered being if I was having to fight you in a battlefield.
Her performance, her portrayal, her being the protector of Kal-El, because that's how originally it was. You see that. You see how her rage comes up when she finds out that Kal-El was killed.
Yeah.
And I liked here, since it's a multiverse movie, that she's the one. Where in Man of Steel, he was the one. Where he had all the gene codes inside of him. She had it, and she didn't know she had it. In the books, she is a lot older, where like her ship gets misdirected and comes later, where she's already an adult, where Kal-El meets her, where he lands on Earth and he grows up on Earth, what have you. But I do like how they capture her, especially when she's thin and then the yellow rays hits her and she starts to energize, and that was cool. And like Michael Keaton coming out the way he did, when he showed up at the manor
in the kitchen,
it reminded me of Green Arrow in the Dark Knight Returns animated series.
Yeah,
because of the beard, the long straggly hair, and the loose clothing. I also found it funny that every time he was doing his stunts, his face was covered by the hair.
Yeah,
which is a technique they use to show the fighter's face or the stunt person's face while they're doing the movement. It reminded me of the old kung fu films. But a lot of it has to do, for me, is the deep cuts and the cameos toward the end. You have Christopher Reeve, you have Helen Slater reprising their roles as Superman and Supergirl. Well, really, not really reprising roles, but they were both CGI, which was not needed.
They had a lot of CGI near the end.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of CGI in this movie.
Yeah,
overdone. But the thing is, you have film stock of Christopher Reeves flying around as Superman. You could have used that and then do a back. Well, true, but Helen Slater's still alive, so you can have her as an older version.
True.
Watching it and not be right next to him, even though in the Richard Donner universe, they're cousins, known cousins. But you could have had him flying and then do like a quick shot behind his head, seeing what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You see Adam West there, but no Burt Ward, a CGI. You have a CGI of George Reeves, excuse me, George Reeves from the old black and white television series, even though there's a Superman prior to him before George Reeves took over the role. Funny enough, that also Ben Affleck played George Reeves in a movie, Hollywood. I can't remember that right now. I'm forgetting the name.
Yeah, but it was like a docu, not a docu, but it was a.
No, it's like a biopic.
Yeah.
Right. And you have a Flash shown from the Flash. Yeah, Jay Garrick from the Flash series, who is a minor character because in the series there is Jake Garrick and Flash played by John Wesley Shipp. I got offended because I love him as an actor. I love him as the Flash, and we know him from the series.
For the 1990s one too.
Right, from the 1990 ones, that they cut him out. They didn't give him the respect. I was like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
And then Grant, who is the Flash from the CW, when they did their Flashpoint or Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths, Ezra made an appearance.
So you would think he would have been on this one.
Right. You would think that he would show up and give him his respect since they brought him there, but they didn't do that. And I was like, what the hell? The one I enjoyed the most,
of course,
was Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm. Which any of them were not CGI. That's the one I would not want CGI. I wanted to see legit Nick Cage.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Again, why was he CGI? I understand they're trying to do the same copy how he was on the test shots with him and Tim Burton testing the outfit with the long straggly hair like he had in Con Air. But yeah, why not show an older version of Nick Cage or Superman still fighting a spider, which was also like created because that spider, we've tied this in another review where Kevin Smith, the guy who does Clerks and all this stuff, but he's also a screenwriter and a comic book artist and a comic book writer. But he was hired during that time to write a story, and there was three things he had to do. Superman couldn't fly. He wasn't allowed to fly. We're not allowed to wear the cape. And he had to fight a spider at the end. And it fell through, thank God. But that same producer produced The Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happened at the end? Fought a spider.
Spider.
There's a spider net. So it was like he has this heart on for spiders for some reason. But yes, I agree with you on that. Definitely Nick Cage could have made an appearance, be an older version. Didn't have to let the long hair. He could have had his beard and then do the same exact thing, and it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Like a lot of movies get changed at the last moment. Case in point, Back to the Future. In this universe, Eric Stoltz stays playing as Marty McFly. In our world, he was playing the role. He was scheduled to play, but then something happened that he had to pull out. And so Michael J. Fox came in to play Marty McFly. Mm-hmm. And to have Eric Stoltz as the guy here now as the star is really amazing. And I think they referred to Michael J. Fox for another project. I can't remember. Do you remember?
Not Top Gun. Maybe it was.
No, that was Kevin Bacon was Top Gun.
Oh, Footloose.
Right. So it was like they all switched around. I don't think they were part of Footloose, but they're all part of that. Like they're all big actors in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of funny when they were having that. I did like how the touching moment at the end, how he says goodbye to his mother, and also how he saves his dad.
Yes, but I gotta wonder if that really ended up being a save for his dad because the whole George Clooney thing.
No, not that. But how, like, he rearranged the cans.
Oh, you just thought it was cool.
Yeah, well, because like, how do you fix that? Like, his head's down here looking down.
Yeah.
Let me just change the shelves.
Yeah.
And he looks up, so that part. That's what I mean. What about you, Alan? I know I went on a tangent with all what I liked. What about you? What did you like?
All the parts with Batman, Supergirl, and then I say with Batman because like I enjoyed the part with Ben Affleck also, as well as Michael Keaton. All those parts were great. The kitchen fight scene, entertaining. Michael Keaton, the GOAT when it comes to Batman, just got to give it to him. I did really like the fight scene between the Kryptonians at the end. I thought that was really good.
Right. I thought it was nice that the original trio showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So they did have more humor here than a lot of the other like Snyderverse films. And so the fact that they made fun of how he runs, because he actively runs better in this film than he's done in other films. But then when he loses his power, if you rewatch the older films, it's even worse. But
no, you're right. You're right. And they make fun of it. The thing is what he did in that hallway, whatever, is how he does anyway.
Oh yeah.
There's only one time that he's actually moving fast, and that's from a distance, and it's from a CGI character.
I mean, the blue version of him runs normally,
but still, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's fucking horrible.
I don't disagree with it. I just like the fact that they made fun of that. There were points that were like really good humor-wise. They had some really good emotional parts. The parts that stole the show was the Batman Supergirl. The whole going to Moscow, was it Moscow? Berlin to rescue what they thought was Clark.
I think it was Russia.
No, yeah, Berlin, Russia.
Berlin's in Germany.
I don't know. It was European. Moscow?
Regardless, I thought it was Russia. But anyway.
Yes. That whole part where they were trying to rescue her, and then it escalates from the one of the Flashes knocking over a canister, and then everybody's staring at them, and they're just holding still.
Yeah, that was cute. I'll admit to that. And then he hits the shovel.
Yeah,
and then he just keeps on going.
And Batman flies in, and Michael Keaton Batman starts whooping everybody, like just owns them all. I'm like, that's the Michael I want.
Remember on a review of Batman 1989's version,
his fighting style was not that.
It was very minuscule.
Yeah, because of the suit and everything.
But not just that. I mean, but the suit was here not that much different. He still had that cowl where you had to turn your body. You couldn't really turn the head.
You see that also from later on in the movie where the Flash took the suit. You try turning his head, and you see the cowl just stays right there.
Right.
The moments that were closest to the Flashpoint paradox, that's moments I liked. Like when he strapped himself to the chair, and he was gonna. It's a subtle thing, but it's a really strong moment, like in the comic, and like what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was the only thing they did similar to the Flashpoint, where he's in the chair. And he gets electrocuted.
Running back for his mother. There was like, I can count on my one hand the things from the paradox. But it was like, I just thought it was like that was a good homage to it. And like the fact that you see the spider veins from the lightning strike, like how he's injured. I'm like, okay, they're pulling it back. I was enjoying that. That's pretty much it. I mean, outside of Michael Keaton and Sasha, they stole the show. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and then, like, again, Michael Shannon reprising his role as Zod was very powerful. It was very stoic, and he still had, it was like, it was almost as if it wasn't like, 5-8 years ago that he played the role.
Yeah.
It was done very well.
When he says, like, the infant or the child didn't survive, that was a strong moment. I enjoyed that moment. I was like, yeah.
And what about you? That you remember besides the Wonder Woman moment?
There is, like you guys mentioned, like obviously the Wonder Woman moment. George Clooney, that was a surprise. I like that.
Oh yes, I forgot about that. Yes, George Clooney making an appearance, which I thought was smart and redemption for him.
Yeah,
because people like the thing with like Crisis on Infinite Earths and like Flashpoint is what they did with that was to reset the DC line, and they kind of took like the best versions of each character and they put into one world. George Clooney is not the best version of Batman in the cinematic world.
Yeah.
So when he shows up at the end, which I thought at a moment I thought it was Michael Keaton. Like somehow like he got shifted into that.
I thought so too.
Right? It kind of sounded like him. But when he shows up as George, I was in stitches. I was all for it. It was a great cameo. It was a great surprise. Yes. Anything else?
No, that's about it.
Oh, well, she must have slept a lot.
Well,
All right,
what about the
so-
negatives?
The babies. The babies. They were horrible. They look like
They were crying. They were falling to their deaths. How dare you? No, I understand.
Yeah, I know. That was the first thought I had watching the movie too.
they look like bad baby dolls.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to agree. Like the CGI here was heavy and unnecessary on so many things. Like you could have had the babies, but not close up. You could have showed them from a distance so the CGI doesn't look so bad.
The one thing, I don't think it's like it has to do with a scene or anything in the movie, but I felt a lot like Ezra is not a strong enough actor to carry a whole movie himself. I hate to say it, because
Especially twice.
Yeah, in Justice League, he's good because he's a good person that you can go to for like a one line, and you have all these main characters carrying it, and he's good popping in, out, here and there. But to carry a whole 2-hour movie, he wasn't really. I felt like he was faltering on that.
His 18-year-old character was extremely annoying, more so than usual.
But the 18-year-old, but that's how 18-year-olds are.
Yeah, he made sense to me as an 18-year-old because like he hasn't experienced what this Barry has experienced, the older version anyway.
True.
You know, he hasn't lost his mother. He hasn't gained the powers. He hasn't know the great power comes with great responsibility, you know, in the sense of that nature. But this Barry, the older one, doesn't seem that much older, that much mature. He still seems like the one still learning, like he did in Justice League.
Yeah.
So he doesn't seem that much growth. And I think that would have been better if we did see some growth. We still see him being late, and that was a problem too.
I mean, there's an archetype of the character. He's always late, even though he's
right. Even though he's the fastest man alive, he's always late for something. But you anything else besides the babies and the acting on this part?
They never touch on the fact that the mother, evidently somebody stabbed the mother.
Someone killed. Yes.
If the father didn't stab her, then somebody did. She didn't stab herself, so they never shed light on who stabbed her.
Right, and in the comics, it is the reverse Flash. Excuse me. He's the one that kills her because he hates Barry so much, so to affect him that he kills her. But also, as another thing too, is like he had to kill her in order to make the Flash.
Yeah.
If he doesn't kill her, the Flash will not happen. And if the Flash doesn't happen, reverse Flash will not happen.
It's like the whole Terminator. You know,
right?
You have to send one back in time to start the cycle.
Right. So it's like this love-hate the reverse Flash had for the Flash, which is weird. It's a weird dynamic.
He was an obsessive fan turned toxic.
Right, but it's just still weird though. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like to make you, I have to hurt you.
There was like I want to say it was in the comics where he was talking about like every bad thing that's ever happened to you, Barry. Like he says it like every bad thing was because of me. Like when you broke your arm falling down the stairs in their basement, when you did this and da 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 da. It's like that was me. That's how obsessive he was.
Teacher who tries to make the discipline stronger, the child stronger by breaking them down.
Yeah, one of the versions of
that's a movie too with J.K. Simmons. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in order to make you stronger, I have to tear you down.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a form of tough love, but this is not love. This is obsession.
It was.
And that's what they missed here because
They made a whole new villain for this.
Oh, no. He's actually in the comics, I heard. The Dark Flash. I heard I don't know about that, but that's why I heard that he actually does exist, but
Maybe.
Yeah. Flash, the one at the end.
Yeah.
Older, younger Barry.
You see like only for a split second early in the film, and then like for all of 5 minutes at the end of the film. You really don't get him as a villain.
Right. But the thing is like he's the oldest version and the youngest version.
Yeah.
Because he has grays coming in. So he's both in one. Kind of like what was that one Transformers, Rise of the Beast. We are the past and the future.
Yeah.
When we see young Barry, he's dressed in yellow.
Yellow and red.
In reference to the Reverse Flash, where Barry is dressed more in red. So I was thinking that Reverse Flash would show up, that he, in order to make young Barry the Flash, that he would actually make him the Reverse Flash. Since the lightning bolt went through him, and into Barry, that could have like changed it. Even though it took his powers away, and then gave him powers, that barrier that the lightning bolt went through could have been an answer of how he becomes the Reverse Flash. Where it's kind of like the Gemini effect, the two personalities in one.
Yeah.
That would have been a cool concept.
No, it would have been.
Even if it wasn't the one, like in the sense of like the Reverse Flash was the person that killed the mother.
Yeah. I mean, even in the animated movie, I don't remember him saying that he killed the mother in the animated movie. I feel like they left that out. But even then, he's like, Barry, you're your own worst enemy. I didn't even have to do this. That's the best part. You did it to yourself about messing up the world. Like, he just relishes in it. But speaking about him getting his powers through Barry, through the lightning strike, what's up with the tooth? I don't understand the whole tooth thing. It was funny for a second, but it made no sense.
It made no sense in what?
It was never in the comics or something like that. Why would the lightning strike pop out a tooth randomly?
It was just a shock to the system, in the sense like your body something has to pop like popcorn.
And then it goes into the other one's mouth. Oh my God.
Oh, that was gross.
That was gross.
But
it's not necessary.
The tooth falling out at the end, not funny, but I can understand because it's glue and all that saliva and whatever could have just made it pop, whatever. It was kind of like that tooth falling out at the end when he sees George Clooney, like what the F moment.
It would have been made more sense as like once he got his power, the tooth grow back, like pop out the old tooth, a new tooth come in, because his power is about healing.
Right. He has a healing factor of like kind of like Wolverine, but it's like fast.
Granted, you don't really grow back teeth, but like he's a superhero.
No, I'm saying, but I understand what you're saying. It makes total sense. Or that the tooth would have bonded back in, like just whatever, it would just been attached. It didn't have to fall out at the end.
Yeah,
you're correct. Anything else? I think we covered that before we go to Adan.
What's the evil Barry at the end?
Dark Flash. That's what they call it, Dark Flash.
Dark Flash. That I was confused, and it just didn't make sense to me, and it just seemed like it was
It reminded me more of Doomsday.
The way he's designed and whatnot.
The way he was designed with the things, the claw sticking out.
Well, I mean, he looked to me a lot like the new 52 or DC Rebirth, like Reverse Flash or Zoom that they did. He was like all black. Yeah, all black with the red. Right. But I saw it coming as soon as he got that first shard in his arm.
Yes.
I'm like, oh,
me too.
And then I was like, this is the guy.
Well, for me, it was the one where he got hit in the back.
Oh, yeah.
It was sticking out. I was like, oh boy. And then, of course, you see it happening as he returns back and forth. Mm-hmm. But why didn't you not like it? Why you're confused? Why?
Of him showing up and their whole conversation in the sense of like what he was trying to do and the reason why they didn't like him, or I was just.
Well, that I can understand, because you have someone who is seasoned versus someone who just gets their power and is not mature enough to know the responsibility or the reaction of doing certain thing or the cause and effect of doing something. So I can see that because again, he's told that he's a superhero or he will be. He's, by someone who's looks exactly like him, an older version, and then he gets these powers. And so he just, like any kid, you just go buck wild. Like when you're, say, able to drink, right? And you're not supposed to, but you do, and you get away with it. You get away with it almost in a way of an addiction, right? You just, just go for it. And even though his heart is in the right place, trying to save Superwoman, I'm gonna call her Superwoman and Batman, he can't. And that was also very similar to What If, the Doctor Strange episode. I don't know if you remember in What If, in the Doctor Strange episode, he tries to save his fiance, his girlfriend, but he can't. No matter what he does, is inevitable.
That's like Groundhog Day.
Right. They're going to die. Is you can't change what is destined for them. But yeah, I like that part. Sadly, because, that was the end of that version of Batman of Michael Keaton. Because it could be, again, that is not the exact same Batman from 1989, because the Wayne Manor is a little different.
True.
And also in the Flashpoint saga, it's not Bruce Wayne.
It's Thomas Wayne.
It's Thomas Wayne,
which I think Michael Keaton could have done as well. Just
exactly. They could have done that, and he was still Batman. Colors were different. He was still Batman, but Bruce and Martha, the wife, were killed in the alley instead.
No, Martha actually lived in the comic.
Did she really?
She became the Joker.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she went insane because of her child died in front of her. And you see her laughing, and the blood.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
mixed with her makeup, and like it made a smile because she went in hysteria.
You're right. Yes.
And there was a comic book after that they followed up with, like, where he's talking to her, that he's like, our son actually lived somewhere else.
But still, to have him, it would have been cool. It was just they make him another version of Batman and make him Thomas Wayne instead of Bruce Wayne. I did like the costumes that he showed at the end, the variations they had, because then again, you have the 1989 Batman costume and
the OG one with the pistols.
And the Batman Returns. But the one with the pistols is Thomas Wayne's version.
Yeah.
Because he had two.
Oh, I thought it was like the original Batman, because the original Batman did also have pistols too.
Right, but it was just one.
Oh, okay.
They have two. Right. And it was almost like holsters where you had here. So it was kind of like that. So it would have been nice if they just changed it. Oh, no, I'm not Bruce. That's my son. They could have had that moment. Like, that's not my son. What are you talking about? He's been dead for 40 years, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That would have been great.
That would have worked just fine.
I thought so. Yeah. Then we know that maybe another version of the Michael Keaton's Batman could come out. Still good. I love how the Batwing was updated.
That was cool.
With a spinning.
I wanted Batmobile to move though. I wanted them to fire that up. That would have been nice.
So yes. Now, did you go over your dislikes?
No.
Okay, it was just you first, right? Okay.
I'll be quick with mine. Most of the stuff with the CGI, when they're going back in time, or crossing into the multiple realities, or with the babies, anything CGI with people. Like, it was just so unnecessary. I get what they were trying to do, but there's been so many different things where they've done time travel and you don't need to show a whole army of people, of events, with their faces like CGI'd on there.
Like, we have film stock of that.
No, I know exactly what you mean by that. And I'm saying, like, it was uncalled for.
But I'm saying they have film stock to use instead.
Yeah. I mean, there was film stock of Henry Cavill.
Right. Yeah. They didn't use it.
Yeah.
They used CGI.
And so that was a heavy thing that I did not like. The humor, I like humor, but it was a hit or miss. Sometimes the jokes were really funny. Sometimes the jokes were just annoying, and that actually took it away. Action, that was good, but it was
not enough.
Not enough for something as epic as it was. For the Flashpoint, like, the Flashpoint is like World War III kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's called. Flashpoint paradox. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Flashpoint.
but we have, like, Aquaman, the King of Atlantis, fighting Wonder Woman, the Queen of the Amazonians, they had that story
Mhm.
arc in there, and that would have been nice. They did that here. It would have been perfect. You saw that
But
where
they
a little
cut
like on
that
a
out.
news, yeah, but on a news thing,
Yeah.
you can see that Wonder Woman and Aquaman are going at it.
Mhm.
It would have been cool, but again, they just like, nah, let's not do that.
Oh, I just remembered since you brought it up, the other thing that I disliked was the end credit. It wasn't needed. It was unnecessary.
It was absolutely unnecessary. That was just for fun.
Right, that's still not necessary.
But
But to counter that, when he called the father, Aquaman's father, to see if Arthur's around,
Oh, that was funny.
and he answers the phone, and his wife is not the queen of Atlantis.
He's got like a
But
part fish woman, a mermaid.
she was a whale. She was pretty big. What? It's true though. She was big. It's just what. But yeah. But I'm sorry, Alan. You were going on with your dislikes.
For the most part, that's it. Like when you have the CGI situations or some of those scenes, it just takes you out of the film, so you can't really follow in. And those jokes, so some of them ran longer than like the whole falling baby sequence with the dog. We're gonna
At
go
the
back
end,
to
too.
that, and at the
At
end,
the end at the same time, I was like, what the freak?
yeah, they reused the same foot, like, and just focused on the dog's perspective, and it just at that point it should have been a CGI cartoon, and they probably would have been better. Just go all cartoon if that's the thing, because it looked like a cartoon. That's where it went bad. The CGI people were basically cartoons.
I agree with that. Or it could have been like, say, a perspective by a bystander watching that happen, besides the dog.
Or the woman falling out from the
Okay, that was funny.
that was funny, but they could have done it from her perspective. That would have been just as good. You know what? If that was like a DC animated movie, story wise, I would have been kind of halfway there. But I would have been like, if they did it full animation, it wouldn't have taken me out of it.
sort of like Spider-Man,
Which one?
Spider-Verse.
Which one?
I think she means the first one.
No, she's had the second one, the cross.
Oh, never mind.
No. All right. Anything else? Because I'm ready to go.
Go ahead.
There we go.
Hey, ready?
2 hours
So-
later.
So yeah, I have to agree. The CGI, it was horrible. There was too much CGI on times not needed. There was actually CGI on a close up of Ezra, very similar to Superman Returns, where you have Brandon Roth flying at Superman, and they do a close up of him, and it's CGI. Like, don't do that. There's no need to like have him like regular face, and then somehow change the camera when he's going away. Then you can switch it to CGI. His costume was horrible. He looked like a red squid.
In his defense, that's very similar to the comic, though.
Not like that, though. It looked like big, and they got a little smaller. I understand what you're saying, that the concept of it, right? But the execution of it was bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the only thing that was cool about it was that when he starts to run, that the shades come down to protect. I can understand that because the wind's going through, so it protects.
What's with the run at the beginning of the film, by the way, where he takes that stance with the one-legged pose?
Yeah, but I'm going to get there because, again, that doesn't make sense.
You did track and field.
I did track and field, of course. But here's the thing. He goes into the coffee shop, the restroom, to change, to run out. So he runs out to stop, to pose. And that's what he did for almost everything. Before he ran, he posed. In the CW and other ones, there was no posing. He just went. Here he posed. And then his pose, it physically makes no sense that he's on his right leg. He puts his right arm in front and he lifts up his back left leg. That's not how you run. It's the opposite leg that crosses with the right hand in front. So the left leg should have been down if he was going to do that pose and then take off. But what he was doing is more like Superman and Man of Steel, where he just, or Neo in the Matrix, getting that power position to launch.
That's a horrible position.
It physically did not make any sense. You don't go into that stance. And again, you don't wait. Like, he was just killing time to go. Now, one of the cool things about it was he had a monitor. about his energy and fuel.
His calories, yeah.
That was kind of cool. But leaving from the coffee restroom to why do they just go right to the hospital? Just go there.
Mm-hmm. Mind you, also the calorie thing never used again.
Right.
It was useless. Like they just had it to have it. Because I like the idea is like, no, well, at the beginning of the movie, like, I like the idea that, oh, his calorie gets low, you see his speed start slowing down, he eats something and it picks back up. Not used again for the rest.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah, it was never an issue.
well, the thing is, don't forget, he didn't have that much. He lost his powers.
Yeah, but the other guy.
Well, the other guy was eating. You saw him a lot. He was eating spaghetti. When he found out his mother died in another world, he was eating. So he was eating here and there, but he wasn't also not as active until the finale. So you got to put that in consideration. Iris West, not needed. Her having that love interest or forcing that love interest of her, just like in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
That scene with her in that movie, again, not needed, when he's rescuing her.
Yeah, true.
Even though they did bring it up, like, you know, in the sense that she kind of remembers that him rescuing her from that crash, but still not needed. I hated his running style, always. The swinging of the arms. And then when he's in that speed, I call it the Speed Force. I know it's a different name for that, where he's traveling through times and dimensions. He's running backwards.
Yeah.
It made no sense. I understand, like, in the sense of a car, when we see a car go forward, the wheels look like it's spinning backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But why is he running backwards when it's supposed to be going forward? Like you said, who killed Nora Allen? Who killed the mother? It would have been great if his focus point went onto that. Besides just trying to save, he didn't really save her, which would have been kind of cool. Like, let me go there, like in the CW version and stuff like that, like in the books. Like, he went to go to the same exact moment before it happens. He tries to avoid the young Barry for he won't get seen, but he saves his mother. Then what happens later on, all the time events, all the things to change, the butterfly effect happens. Yeah, the TV show did a much better job. Again, like I said before, Barry didn't really grow in or mature. And I would love to have seen that. He was still being like the little obnoxious little one trying to help but be in the way. It would have been better if he was like asexual at this moment, meaning no love interest, nothing of that nature, focusing more on saving his dad or finding a way to save his dad or figuring out who killed his mother, in a sense, in present day. Like how there's like those investigations where there's like characters and they have a line that draws like a time, a place, and what have you.
Yeah, like
the connect
boards where they use the
right
tacks with the twine.
Right. A time like that would have been cool if we saw that. Again, they did that in CW, which was a smart way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to me, again, they stay with more of the comic book. If he went in back in time, trying to save her and trying to find out who killed her, that would have been awesome. A great touch. Or to actually see the reverse Flash. If it was the murderer, or if it was young Barry that became that way, that, more of a, even though I'm not like you, I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
That would have been kind of cool. Yeah, the ending of the credits with Aquaman. I mean, granted, is a little tie-in to Peacemaker. That's what it felt to me. At the end of Peacemaker.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
We see the Justice League show up. And the only two people who are talking or in focus is the Flash and in Aquaman. And I was like, okay, I can see the relation there because they have a special bond. But that being said, in a way that they also negated or refused to bring up that Barry has traveled before. He has traveled in time before in Batman versus Superman. But the thing is like he's acting like he'd never done it before.
No, Bruce Wayne was the one. Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne mentioned is like, oh, it's like that time back in what place in Justice League. Again,
still, he did it. But again, I think he didn't do it because the thing is, and also the costume, when Barry meets Bruce in the past of Barry's past, in the sense of Lois is the key. he's still wearing the original Flash armor.
Oh yeah,
Little
no,
updated.
yeah, I agree with
A
that.
little updated. It's not that. So it's like you're missing. Like, so why does he have this new squid-like suit where we see him wearing this? And then again, he's able to. He knows how he can reverse time. But it was like, seriously,
It doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense. It's a continuity factor of the previous films. Granted, if you want to include the Snyder version or the Joss Whedon version,
You know, there's gonna be fans out there be like, "Oh, it would have been done better if Zack Snyder got a hold of it." I'm gonna be like,
not really
necessarily.
No, because he did that whole rescuing Iris thing, and I, for me, I dislike that scene 100%. Plus another one.
You just don't like her, do you?
No, it's not that I don't like her or not. It's just like moments. Not, it doesn't help the story along. What's the main focus?
Superwoman spit.
Superwoman spit.
Yeah, remember when she was on the roof and he goes, "You feel strong?" She goes, "Yes," and she spits and breaks the gargoyle. That was spit. That wasn't a breath. She hawked a loogie.
The loogie.
Class.
No, but it was cool. I mean, hey, she got her strength back. She has deadly spit.
But she has like,
yeah. But I mean, again, Sasha did a great job. I thought she was a pleasure. She surprised me. I knew Michael Keaton was going to kill it. I knew that even though Ben Affleck was in it a short time, and I'm not really a big Batfleck fan, he did a great job here. It was more toned down and more of like a father figure for Barry and telling him what he needed to hear. So that was good. But granted, his Batman, I did not really enjoy. I did like the color scheme where the blue and gray back in the day. It was cool, but the way he was taking hits and all that stuff, it was like, come on, he would not be able to get up because it was like it was bang into. It was like John Wick crashing into trucks, coming over here, bang into other cars. It was like, and his
face.
But he would not like
when they showed his face. He looked really old. Like,
well, he is
pretty up there.
Like Batman would have avoided all those hits, in my opinion. I think, I don't know, especially from a rated C robber who was actually a son of the Falcons, who was a mobster that disfaced Two-Face, or who made Two-Face, the Falcons. They had that little tie-in. They made like a gang, if you will, called the Falcons. I know I'm missing some other things that I disliked, but that's pretty much what I disliked.
I mean, we covered pretty much the gambit on it.
Right. Now, here goes a question for you. Does Barry, older Barry, go back to the same universe?
I'm assuming that's why they had the whole scene with Jason Momoa, is that he's explaining, he's like, how he ran into all these different versions of Batman.
Like he stayed the same.
And he stayed the same. And maybe he did get back eventually to the OG universe. But
Barry?
So
are you saying then, excuse me, are you saying that when he went back to the Earth and found a way to save his father, that he went back to a different Earth?
Yeah.
As we see George Clooney?
Yeah.
See, I think you're wrong. Why? Is because all those Earths merging together.
They didn't merge. They actually separated back again.
Right. But you don't think somewhat through the loopholes?
Yeah, that could be an argument. Like
okay, right. So like if you go like this, I say my hands are two planets, and they go in, and then they separate. You don't think some are going to be left behind or pulled into the other?
I mean, that's a possibility. Yeah,
it's always a possibility.
I mean, in the books, that's what happens. The Earths do fuse to one. They fuse together to become one. Excuse me, and that's what we get.
And then in the actual books of the Flashpoint paradox, it was actually, he did set things right, but Dr. Manhattan screwed up the timeline. It used that as an opportunity to mess with the timeline even further. So even though 90% of the stuff was normal, there's always that little 10% that wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're saying that Barry found himself in another universe.
I mean, if we're going based on that first thought, like, yeah, it makes sense.
So he agrees with you.
but then he doesn't.
Because we don't have a definitive answer.
Right. No. Okay. Since this is pretty much the last DCEU film or Zack Snyder first film, James Gunn is taking over. He kept this. He's keeping Blue Beetle
And Aquaman too, right?
and I believe Aquaman too, where Bruce is supposed to show up, or Ben Affleck is supposed to show up. Excuse me. Supposedly, that it could be. This would have been a perfect restart for his vision.
Either of our theories could technically mean a restart, where they don't necessarily disown Snyderverse. They said things change because of Flashpoint. Flashpoint stuck us in a whole new world, or we merged worlds, and there's things are the same yet slightly different.
It would just been cool. It was a little more answer. I mean, I don't mind George Clooney coming back as Batman or Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Just have, but instead of him being Batman, have Batman Beyond. That would have been cool. Like, he's now the mentor of this one. So it's like Bruce Wayne is still
Beyond fan.
Yeah, I know. It was a perfect opportunity for that because he's older. He can't do the same thing as he used to. It would be great because James Gunn is coming out with a new version of Superman, a new different actor, not Henry Cavill, But also, I'm sorry, I forgot Shazam, Fury of the Gods. That's also going to be part of the DCU.
Yeah.
The way that ended as well. So you have all these that's going to, I mean, it would just been better if they used this as a restarting vehicle, like the most definitive one.
I agree.
It wasn't really, it didn't seem like it really like closed the book or ended the chapter or the saga.
It could have been used to be like a completely revamp of the series.
Right. He could have woken up and then saw like a character that's going to be part of the James Gunn vision.
I mean, if they really want to mess up and not really mess up, but do a curveball and redo the series, kill off Barry Allen. Infinite Earths, Barry Allen dies, right? And then bring in Wally West. Like, you have all these other you only see 2 Flashes in here. They could have brought in other Flashes.
No, does Barry Allen actually die, or does he get lost into the Speed Force?
Technically, he gets lost in the Speed Force, but for years, everybody thought he died because he literally turned into a skeleton in ash.
Right. Yes.
So he disintegrated. So everybody thought for years Barry Allen was dead, and then years in real life, years later he came back. But the definitive Flash was Wally West, and Wally West technically is faster than Barry Allen. I stand by that rule, and I fight people on this.
Yeah, Wally West is he not the son?
He was the brother to Iris West.
Right.
And for the longest time he was Kid Flash. And he duplicated the experiment that caused it. So he's a smart kid. But yeah, you could have easily had like a Kid Flash show up and then be like, Barry needs to undo the things that was done since we changed the story so much. Barry dies in the process. Kid Flash shows up in the new DCEU as the new Flash. That's your starting point.
But like the Speed Force is like the Force, but it is one of many things. There's many variations of the Force. So you have the Speed Force, which just deals with one aspect. Then you have like the
Strength Force,
Force, blah 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 blah. So it's like a branch.
Slow Force.
Yeah, Slow Force.
Yeah.
There's such not forms.
There's a Slow Force. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
It is okay. All right. Now, okay, here we go. In the sense of rankings, where does it fall for you? To me, this is like, okay, not to me, this one, but Wonder Woman is the best DCEU movie.
The first one, yeah.
Wonder Woman 84 is the worst one. Sorry. But those are the two things. The same character, but they're both, like, one's awesome, one is horrible in comparison. Now you have other ones that are close to that, like Black Adam.
In the category, because that's Wonder Woman 2. This is like the first Flash.
But how, in the sense of how it was executed as a DCEU film. So yes, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the Batman or Christopher Reeve's Superman. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those specific DCEU related movies.
There's like 10 of them, right?
There's a lot. Okay, we can go over real quick. I'll go over real quick, and you can jump in on that to help me if I forgot. Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, Justice League, whichever one you want to think about.
It's like 5.
Wonder Woman 84.
Okay.
Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Black Adam,
Aquaman.
Thank you.
Well, now Flash.
Suicide Squad. Not the Suicide Squad.
The Suicide
Squad. Birds of Prey. So that's 12.
Was the Flash in that 12?
13.
Is that about right? I mean, people listening to like correct us if we're wrong, but still, yeah, I would say 13.
Okay, so where does that fit with you? Because I know every time we do this, it kind of always changes the order depending on our mindset.
It does. I mean, it's not my top 3 or 5.
Fair enough.
It's not.
Top 10.
13.
Oh, 13. Sure. It's in the low end of the top 10.
Okay, for me, well, I haven't seen Birds of Prey, and I heard that's horrible, so I don't know about that. But I know Black Adam is bad. I know that the original Suicide Squad is bad.
Wonder Woman 84 you swore was bad, so that's 3 right there.
That's why I said that, Woman 84. But, I mean, I do love Man versus Man of Steel, which I think is still a good one, even though I always change. Wonder Woman, the original one, takes it, always.
I always liked Man of Steel. I don't agree with a lot of things in it.
No, I love Wonder Woman. That's what I'm saying. The first one I like. The 84, I don't. The first one I think is awesome. And then I have to give BVS, Man of Steel, in the sense of those. I know it was different order before.
Didn't you like Aquaman?
Not really.
You like Shazam?
It was entertaining. Shazam I like better. I do like it better. I would say this is like the top 5. This is I would say the bottom.
The bottom top 5?
No, the 5 is number 5.
Okay.
Is it worth the watch? Well, you fell asleep, so I guess no for you.
I want to rewatch it.
Well, we'll wait for streaming. When it comes on Max, we'll go.
Which will probably be in 2 months. For your DC fans, yeah, go ahead and see it in theaters.
What about you? I'm asking you.
Not in theaters. I would have been happy watching this on TV.
Okay, fair enough. Is it worth the own?
No.
No.
I proudly own Flashpoint Paradox.
Oh, me too.
And I like that. Cartoon or not, I will fight for that one.
It's a good story.
And then if someone said like, oh, but you don't have the other Flash movie, I'd be like, I don't need it. I got this one. It's not necessary. And that was shorter. Mind you.
Yeah. So go back to Rotten Tomatoes score. Critics got a 67. Audience got an 86%. I'm with more of the critics on this one. What about you? Yeah. And about you the same way?
I'm going to have to lean towards the critics on this one, yeah.
Okay, guys, that is our DCness review of The Flash. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. If you have a movie for us to review or a show, please, again, comment below or email us at talesoftvbros@gmail.com. Until next time, will be the next time. I am Angel.
I'm Adon. That's Kim. I mean, you could say it yourself, Kim.
Really?
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too. Let's get nuts.